Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Wanted to give you a live weather update before I head for dinner. It's kind of a little bit earlier, but we'll look at the latest data. I'll provide another live update tonight. But just to give you a heads up, yes, we do have a system on the way. And hopefully you like the snow that happened Friday night into early Saturday because we got a similar situation where temperatures are going to be borderline freezing. The roads are still obviously very warm. So there's going to be some accumulation on elevated surfaces, on your car hoods, on your windshields, those areas that can drop a lot faster. And bridges and overpasses, there could be a slick spot or two. But let's get right into it and show you, first of all, what you can expect. So, how much snow for Monday's system? It's not going to be a lot, but there's always a chance that winter weather systems can overperform what the models show. Now, the models aren't going to be exactly perfect on predicting how much precipitation develops because they were kind of underdone on Friday night, and we already accounted for that. But there's a look at the satellite and radar, and you're going to notice this system that's moving in from the west. So there it is. There's the upper low. And if we look at the water vapor, it's a very impressive upper level low. Now, the question is what's going to be the track of this? That is what determines exactly how much snow we see as far as accumulation are concerned. All that stuff is going to be important. But on the water vapor, you can see that system dropping southeast. And once it starts to eject, meaning moving more easterly, then it's going to rapidly fling to the northeast. Now, models have different scenarios, and believe it or not, it doesn't look like much, but how about that? You have three different scenarios, one that kind of comes right over, one that's a little bit south, one that's a little bit farther north. There's all sorts of different tracks. The farther north you are, the less the precipitation. The farther south you are, the more the precipitation. And Josh, this system is diving, but it also, you can see it starting to get a kicker out of this system to the west. So it looks like it's diving, but at the same time, it looks like it's starting to eject southeast now. See that at the very last minute? So that's another thing that I've been looking at too. So this system does dive in, but it ejects more like it looks like this. All right, so let's show you some timing here. There's the low. That's personally what I think the track is going to be. Um, and I do believe that it does get warm tomorrow. Be surprised. Don't be surprised to be in the mid to upper 40s. Number one, we got warm air advection ahead of this system, Jacob. And I went 45. 48's a little warm because we will have abundant cloud cover. And here you can see it. But a little bit of a break in the clouds in the morning. Temperatures will be right around the mid to upper 20s. I don't think that's cool enough. But there it is, just before it starts precipitating during the afternoon on Monday. It'll be all rain, by the way, because the atmospheric column isn't cold enough for snow, and it's on the leading edge of this system. So when does the snow start to take place? That's going to be after 5 o'clock, most likely. And southwesterly winds also means warmer too, and downsloping potential. So the question is, how much are we going to see? At the moment, personally, I think, and I lowered the totals, but there's always a chance that, especially the higher elevations, you know how this works. Jasper, Huntsville, Kingston, Parthenon, you name it. Some of the higher elevations in the Boston Mountains, you'll get a little bit more snow. Jasper Mountain, probably maybe up to 3 inches. So here's a look at the system. Notice how quickly it moves out. Now, there could be some flurries lingering in the morning hours, but this system does move out pretty quick. And so if we look at the different models, I'll show you that this is a very tricky weather forecast. Nice run. Green Bay is doing good. Someone just said it on here too. Josh said Green Bay is storming back, hearing the Bears cry outside as well. I start a job on Tuesday. Please, no snow or ice. If there is, it's going to be on higher elevation. So there's the model. The European. This is not the European. This is the HRRR. Now, one thing to think: this is not snow depth. This is snow accumulation. So with temperatures that are above freezing, you get what's called melting. You get compaction, and you can't just look at accumulation. Now we show this because this is the only product we have. We don't have snow depth on these on the computer graphics systems. At least I don't think so, unless they changed it. I'll take a look real quick and see if it is something that they've added. I don't think it is. Snow accumulation, Oh, they do have snow depth, uh, but not for the HRRR, of course. They only have it for the NAM 3 kilometer. So I'll show you the NAM 3 kilometer here. There's snow depth, so it's a lot less than what you saw previously. It's got to load the contours. Now this is the contour for snow depth. It probably might not have anything. I'll show you some different stuff. But anyways, snow depth is different than snow accumulation. And so a lot of people see these snow accumulation maps. Well, when temperatures are above freezing, it's not going to accumulate immediately. So you can't just say that's exactly what it's going to be. Catherine, yeah, you start your job. You're welcome for the update. Tiffany Ferris, let's go Cowboys. Let it snow. How about Josh? He says dry slot going to kill potential. That is not out of the question. And the dry slot does look like it might develop. What's going on here? There we go. Let's show you the snow accumulation maps. And they're all over the place. So the graph has 1/10 of an inch. Some places barely picking up anything. But you'll notice this little higher amounts that are located in the Washitas. I'll show you my accumulation map here in just a second. The European shows very little. This just like completely changed its tune entirely. So I don't know if I believe that. The GFS has been really gung ho about this system. And if the GFS becomes right and we get over an inch of snow, then I think the European has been knocked off its throne in terms of the most dominant weather model this year, at least, because it really hasn't been as good as the GFS. The NAM has some snow banding, which is entirely possible in higher elevations, and it kind of goes a little overboard, in my opinion. However, there's always a chance that this system could, in fact, overperform. So, after looking at all that, don't mean to disappoint you, but here's what we've got. First down for Green Bay. That'd be nice if we scored here. 1/2 inch to 2 inches is what I've got. Now, notice I've got this little higher amount in the river valley, mainly just in higher elevations of the Washitas, up to 1 inch. And then I did a 1/2 inch just because there's signs that there's not going to be as much snow, and I want to kind of allow a wide range. But St. Paul, Aurora, let's see, Alpena, Marble, those areas are going to pick up a little bit more snow, as they typically always do. Let's see, play action. Nice touchdown. Man, number 9's coming out party here. Christian Watson, he's doing pretty good. So let's zoom in on this and show you across the river valley in Northwest Arkansas. There's a look at your snow total. So up to 2 inches, not necessarily, exactly 2 inches everywhere, but I think there could be some heavier bursts of precipitation and up to 3 inches in higher elevations. There's so much that has to be ironed out with this system, believe it or not, still to this point. The European has not been good. Now the Packers tied it up. Very nice. Well, that'd be nice. Hopefully we can hold them out of the field goal range. But I have a feeling Dallas is going to kick a field goal at the last second. Here's a look at the timing. Notice how we do bump up into the 40s, but then we drop down into the 30s. And while it's snowing, most of our temperatures are going to be in the mid to lower 30s. So it's going to be just above freezing. Roads are warm, so they probably won't be an issue. But remember, bridges and overpasses could get a little slick. I do have some flurry potential there. I got to drop off these other precipitation chances. They're hanging around a little too long, but I think there could be some flurries early Tuesday morning as this system starts to move out. And so beautiful sunset tonight, by the way. Here's the temperatures, 40. We're going to drop down into the mid-20s tonight. So just a lot of uncertainty with the track of this system and really nothing that I can provide you any other different details. I will show you this, though, what's called the Weather Prediction Center. Let me show you this real fast. It's the impacts. So what you can expect for impacts here. So here's the winter storm severity index. And of course, hold on just a second. Josh knows exactly what happened. I reached. Yeah, there you go. This thing changes, by the way, every minute. It changes all the time. But you'll see limited impacts, perhaps a slick bridge or overpass, maybe a little bit of minor impacts. This is not going to be a major storm just because of the temperatures being too warm. So, yeah, what does the EFI show? I actually did not look at that, Josh. Let's see what the extreme forecast index does. Of course, now the extreme forecast index is going to be terrible considering that the model doesn't even have any precip. So let's look here. Yeah, basically nothing. It's got it all northwest. So shift of tails has shifted northwest, which, obviously the more snow is going to be in Kansas and northwestern Missouri. That's no doubt. That's what we've been saying all along, but I still think we get some. So last thing I want to show you here, and then I'm going to head to dinner, is let's check this out. This is the ICAST data. So this is my forecast here. And you'll see as we move into the overnight hours, I'm dropping us down into the mid 20s, even with the high clouds rolling in. During the day tomorrow, everything's looking pretty good. Wipe out this front here. Everything's looking good during the midday hours, and then here comes the precipitation. Now, notice that we're pretty warm, but there's going to be some evaporative cooling. There also is going to be some dry air. Notice how the elevations definitely make a difference. And then the system, here's the dry slot. Look at that. Dry slot coming in, cutting off the precip pretty quick. Now, I don't think this is perfect. I think this is underdoing the amount of precipitation, which is why this barely shows anything, which is why I have, again, the accumulation totals not quite as much, but, not terrible either. Hey, I mean, we already had snow, and there's still some snow to this day on the areas that have been shaded and have been totally protected from the sun. So that's kind of what we're looking at. ECMWF is taking sublimation into his model. No, actually, it's the ECMWF is taking the track way farther north. So, yeah. Josh. Friday overperformed for being this early in the season. Still could be possible here too. Red River track is ideal if that happens. I would agree. No doubt, Josh. Which is why I'm not dropping it completely. The Weather Service has less than an inch everywhere. And I'm like, that's a little too conservative in my opinion, considering that this system on Friday night overperformed. However, it didn't overperform according to us. We had the accumulation, we had the light dusting, and there was a light dusting. And no doubt, that's exactly what it was. So this system rips off to the northeast, by the way. Okay, guys. Well, that about does it. Overnight tonight, we're going to know. Obviously, we're going to see the system that comes in. We're going to see the latest data. We're going to see if the models are pump faking, but it does look like this system is ejecting and starting to move more easterly. And right now, it's at the same latitude as us. So it's going to dig a little more, but then it's going to rip off to the northeast. So I think the models are kind of trending that way. And the storm above us, David, is actually kicking and ejecting eastward. So we showed you that as well. Look at the last imagery. The curvature is starting to be lost as that next system comes in. And let me point that out exactly where that is. So right here, there's the spin, but the new curvature is developing right here. And that is starting to eject easterly. So, all right, guys. I'm going to go. So we'll keep you updated on everything. We'll let you know the latest, and we'll do another Facebook Live tonight after my 9:00 news. We're going to start getting the new model data, and we'll have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. But yes, it could overperform. I still think on average 1 to 2 inches. If it was a late season system, this would be impressive. But I think the models are underdoing the amount of precipitation as they always typically do. All right, guys. Well, take care and we'll see you tonight.